there! Welcome to another episode. I thought I'd give a little update on my knitting again, since it's been a while since I did that, and I actually knitted in the meantime, so I actually have something to show, and I thought I'd just get right into it. But before that, I want to show you my beanie. It's the Musselburgh hat by, I think, Isolde Teague, right? Everybody has knitted one of these, I think. It's one of those patterns where you don't need a specific gauge and you can literally start out with any weight yarn. And you start from the center, like from the top, and you work increases, and once you reach a big enough size to measure your gauge, you continue on with that gauge in the pattern. So you get different instructions for different sizes and different gauges in a single pattern. So that is absolutely fantastic. And you knit a very long tube and basically fold it in on itself, and that becomes a beanie. I haven't worn this a lot because I tend to not wear hats that much anymore. Ever since I got noise-cancelling headphones that go over your ears, my ears stay warm in the winter, and I don't really need hats. I do use more headbands when it's really cold or when I go outside for longer or it's like -5 degrees, but honestly, I don't wear that many hats anymore. But this color is basically my favorite color, and I think it's called Merino 200 by Wollewin, which is a yarn store here in Vienna. Gorgeous building, by the way. It's in the 1st district, and this yarn is so nice and soft. It's 100% merino and it's a fingering weight yarn. 50 grams, 200 meters, and I used up exactly 2 skeins of this. So the wonderful thing was that I could basically knit up an entire skein, and I knew this was half, and I had to just work it exactly the same way again, and I think I ended up with like this tiny ball of scraps. So I really used it up very well. And yeah, I thought I'd wear that today because my hair is nasty. So I thought, yeah, let's just cover it up and use the daylight on the weekend, because now we're entering a time where it gets dark so early, especially in Vienna. It starts getting dark at, like, you cannot film at 4 p.m. Like, it's already dusk. Is it dusk or dawn? Dusk. It's already getting dark. The last video filmed, the one on the Game of Wool show, I started filming at about, I think, 4 p.m. or 4:30, and I noticed, like, during the video that it got darker and darker and the quality got worse and worse. So I'm trying to avoid this by filming on the weekend, so we're covering up the head. I'm very warm, but I'll have to deal with it for the length of this video, and I'm not going to yap for too long. I think I already filmed for 4 minutes. Let me start out with the Bindweed cardigan that I talked about in my very first episode. And at that time I think I had come to sleeve separation, and then I basically didn't knit on it for a month because I started out with 1 sleeve and it's all over cable, and I don't know, I just lost steam for a bit. But last week, or like 2 weeks ago, I went home for a week, like to my hometown, because I had a week off, and I took the whip with me and really worked a lot on it. So I knit a good part of the first sleeve, as you can see here. This is, I think, I don't really have anything to measure with right now, but it's, I think, a little bit less than 30 centimeters. And according to the pattern, I have to knit up to 42 centimeters or 4.5 centimeters less than my desired length. So I think I have a good 15 centimeters of this sleeve left. And I haven't been knitting on it much, to be honest, because I've had smaller projects that were less brain intensive, I'd say. But I'm happy with my progress and it fits well, and I sort of found a rhythm with it, and it takes up much less brain power now that I've gotten used to it. And yep, that is my progress on the Bindweed cardigan. So back in the basket it goes. So the next topic is my Tatreez pillowcase that I have been making for, I don't know, I started around May, and last time I filmed this, also my first episode, I was almost done, and it really took me a long time to actually finish the last details. It's actually ridiculous, but I finished it on my train ride home. And it didn't take up a lot of time, but anyways, I finished that, and I meant to pick out a fabric for the back, but I sort of failed to do that. But I'm in no rush with this, so I just have the finished panel here, and I'm very proud of how this turned out. Like it just makes me happy to look at, and especially the chickens here. So this is the back of it. I tried to keep it clean, but honestly I think it's impossible. I don't know how other people do it, that they just have all their threads in one direction, because sometimes a stitch pattern requires you to go in the other direction to be uncomplicated, simple and efficient. So I don't know how people do that. But that is my Tatreez pillowcase that maybe I'll finish in the spring. Who knows? Again, no rush. So on to my third and last topic. This is all about fingerless mittens, because I made the Pioneer gloves last year, and these are the Pioneer gloves. They're a fingering weight fingerless mitten, and it's a free pattern actually, wonderful pattern. And they have this fun little detail. I don't know if this comes through, but it's like you increase here in pattern, and then it goes like in a different direction. Yeah, you see what I mean? I just think they look cool. And I wore these all winter last year. And then this year, I took them out again when it got colder. And like even when I wanted to wear them for the first time, I had them in my backpack. I noticed that I had lost one. And that was so disheartening, because these are my favorite, and these are made out of Holst yarn, super soft in cobalt blue. And the only store that sold Holst yarns in Vienna closed last year. I actually bought that skein there before they closed. And it's such a wonderful yarn, like it blooms so beautifully when you block it. And yeah, it was such a shame. And I thought I had my scraps somewhere, and I didn't find them. And then I actually filmed a video going through my hand-dyed yarn stash, and I never uploaded it because I didn't even enjoy filming it. Like, I was not having a good time filming it. I was tired, and I really didn't feel like talking much, and talking about the yarn just didn't feel exciting, so I never did anything with the video. But while filming that video, I found the rest of the yarn that I had used for this. Like, it was beautifully wound up in a ball, it had the label around it. Like, I did it so well, I preserved it so well, and it was more than enough to make a second one of these, and now they're a complete pair again, and that makes me happy. But before I found that ball of yarn, before I filmed that video that I never uploaded, I thought, yeah, well, I gotta make a new pair. What am I going to do? What I did was I dug through my stash and I found a 50-gram skein of yellow sock yarn in a very... It is a rather cold yellow. I mean, not as cold as yellow could be, but it's more like a lemon yellow, a cold lemon yellow than an egg yolk yellow or red tones. I prefer warmer yellow tones. So I used that yarn to knit myself another pair of Pioneer gloves, and yeah, I finished those quite quickly, I think within 3 days. And I mean, they're nice, but honestly it's just not my color. I don't wear yellow simply because my favorite colors are all dark. I like blues, and I don't have enough laundry to separate colors, right? So I just keep to a certain color palette, and yellow really has no place in there because it would become gray immediately. And I mean, for knitwear, this shouldn't matter because I don't put it in the wash with everything else. But, well, these are the yellow Pioneer gloves. And, like, I don't like this yellow on me. Like, I think it makes me look sick. Like a sickly Victorian child, if you will. So I think I'll give these away. I'm not sure to whom yet, but Christmas is coming up, so I think I can get rid of them and they can go to a home where they're more appreciated. That's what I mean. So yeah, these are Pioneer gloves in yellow that won't be mine. And then when I was home, I went out for food with my cousin and his wife, and his wife showed me a fingerless mitten that she had lost her second one of, and it was one of these Japanese gloves, like with this, it looks kind of like a modular construction, like an interesting shape. And yeah, I told her I'd knit her a pair of fingerless mittens in the color that she had, and I asked her if she would be good with a pair of these, and she said she'd appreciate that very much and she wouldn't mind it being a different model. So I am making another pair of Pioneer gloves. God, this is all... Oh, this is messy. A pair of Pioneer gloves in scraps from a pair of socks I once made. So this is this natural tweedy sort of color or non-color, and I actually separated a skein of, like a ball of yarns that I combined, like two of these tweed yarns, fingering yarns, that I wound up together, and I separated the two strands, which was really annoying. And I'm not sure they're the same brand, because I have knitted two pairs of white tweed socks in my life, and they were from two different yarn companies. Like, I'm not sure, but I think the other pair I made was more white than this, so I think they're actually the same type of yarn. But I'll just have to see, because those were like, I think 18 grams of each yarn that I had left over. And this is 20 grams, so one of these is 10 grams, and it, like, one of these balls, like I have two of these balls, is just below the amount that I'd need to make a pair of these. So I decided I'd just make one fingerless mitten from each of the balls and make like the shaft here longer, because these are more on the shorter side. These are much longer, so I'm just going to make longer ones out of these. And yeah, I'll just hope for the best. Maybe I could knit up a swatch from the other ball and see if they actually look the same. And if they do, I'll just do one mitten each. And if not, I will actually use the other ball after maybe like thumb separation, after the thumb gusset. I'm like 2/3 into the thumb gusset, you can see here. And yeah, I'll just wing it basically. It's not that deep, and I think the person who gets this will appreciate it anyways. And I think maybe she won't even see the difference. I mean, I will definitely point it out if there is a difference, because that's what I do. Like theoretically, I know most people don't see or care about mistakes in knitting, like they just can't tell. And I still point it out anyways, because I just want to talk about my knitting, and no one would know, but I just love to talk about it, even if I'm just pointing out my own mistakes. So that's entirely on me. But yeah, this is my little project at the moment. I also have a sock project, but that's not worth mentioning right now. So yeah, I think that is it. We stayed below 20 minutes, that's good. Less work to edit and less for you to get through. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I will maybe, since tonight another episode of Game of Wool will be airing, and I have so many more thoughts that I forgot to mention. I may make a video on that, but maybe I won't. I'm going to end this video here. Have a nice rest of your weekend if I upload this early, or have a nice coming week, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye!